family. It's good to be with you this morning. And it's the holiday season, the sacred time of year. So beautiful. I hope you've had a good week. Welcome home. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth. And who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. So just let the music wash over you for a few minutes and just relax. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth. And who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. A blessing to the world. Amen. The beautiful music of Karen Drucker. Yeah, I just love that song. And it's a great way to come into our service this morning knowing that about ourselves. Yeah, amen? When I look in your eyes, I see the beloved. I see the beloved looking back at me. When I stand next to you, I can feel the beloved. Feel the beloved in you. You are in my soul. You are my inspiration. With you in my heart, I'm never alone. We are one. There is no separation. When I rest in you, I'm home. When I touch your heart, I feel the beloved. I feel the beloved touching me. When I open my heart, I open to the beloved in you. You are in my soul. You are my inspiration. With you in my heart, I'm never alone. We are one. There is no separation. When I rest in you, I'm home. I think I need some singers up here. Is that right? Do I have to beg you? I guess I do. I can beg. I can beg. So much of this music is just delightful as a solo, but it is so much more delightful as a party. I'm just saying. Yes. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for singing, people. It's good to be here in the room with you and good to be here online, live stream to our community. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, good morning.
I've got Mally here, Mally and Cheryl with me. So good to have you here. Yeah, we like that.
Thank you.
The drummer said. Holy, holy. Yeah. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Let me love in a holy, holy
Yes.
way.
Oh, let me know that love is all around.
Let me know that love is all around.
Oh, let me know that love is all around.
Let me know that love is all around.
Amen. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way.
Let me live.
Put your hands together, people. Come on now. Take a bite out of it. Come on. Oh, let me learn from all the ways I fall.
Let me learn in all the ways I fall.
Oh, let me know that love can heal us all.
Let me know that love can heal us all.
Oh, let me know that love can heal us all.
Let me know that love can heal us all.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Let me serve in a holy, holy way.
That's right. Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me share the good that's overflowing.
Let me serve in the hope that's overflowing.
Oh, let me care for those around the world.
Let me care for those around the world.
Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way.
Let me live in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Let me love in a holy, holy way.
Yeah, put your hands together for yourself. Great job in the house. Yes, yes, yes. Good morning.
A gracious and glorious good morning to you.
Good morning.
That was warm. Let's be hot. Let's be excited to be here at SLCA today. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. My name is Susan Zoller. My pronouns are she and her, and I proudly serve as a member of the ministerial team here at SLCA. But first and foremost, I am a practitioner of the science of mind. Now, we are a center that engages and educates the seeker on their spiritual path. And as a member of the global movement, Centers for Spiritual Living, our mission is to provide spiritual tools for personal and global transformation. And we want to waken humanity to its spiritual magnificence, so our vision is a world that works for everyone. So no matter where you are on your spiritual journey, SLCA is where you belong, truly. For more information about today's service and ways to connect during the week, please take a moment to scan the QR code found either on the back of the seat in front of you or the one displayed on your monitor. We are grateful for your presence this morning.
Thank you so much, Susan. I invite you to rise in spirit. How it feels comfortable to stand, you may do so. Just know that we're going to celebrate again in song.
I am grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share,
Yes.
the life we made, and I have thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. I am grateful, grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we made, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. I am grateful,
So grateful.
grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we made, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. I am grateful,
So grateful.
grateful for this day, for the love we share, the life we made, and I give thanks for all the many ways that the love of God appears. And the love of God is here.
Please be seated. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, we are grateful this day to be in spiritual community, are we not? Yes. Welcome, welcome to Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. Welcome everybody watching online on YouTube and on Facebook. I'm David Alexander, spiritual director here. My pronouns are he and his, and I'm excited to tell you about what we're doing today. We are exploring even deeper this theme of community today. We're talking all month long about community, what it means to be community as we wrap up this year. We went from home last month, celebrating our 43rd anniversary, into now, what does it mean to really embrace and be the beloved community? And so today, as we expand community, I'll let you know that my son's birthday was yesterday, 6 years old, so he's got his Wakanda Forever themed birthday cake in the fellowship hall. So I took a picture of it, but it's probably be cut up by the time we're done with service. But it looks really cool. And Gaga is here. My mom is here, so we welcome her to the community. And today's affirmation is this: I affirm the God within me. I affirm the God within you. I see all life as an invitation to sacred community. Let's take a breath. I'll say each line once, and you can repeat after me, and then we'll do it all together. I affirm the God within me. I affirm the God within you. I see all life as an invitation to sacred community. Another deep breath in as we let it move even deeper into our awareness, together with one voice. I affirm the God within me. I affirm the God within you. I see all life as an invitation to sacred community. And so it is.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so
Yesterday, I returned from New York, where I had a wonderful time seeing plays and being with my family. And my beloved niece, Laura, did something I never expected. She gave me this. This is a ring that belonged to my aunt that I had not seen in years that she inherited. And she said, I'd like you to have it. And I wore it today because my aunt made the holidays wonderful. No matter that she worked 60 hours a week, that she was a widow, she didn't have a lot of money, living in a small town in Louisiana, this ring represents to me the wonder and the beauty of this season in all its courier eyes and glory. So I invite you today to join me in knowing something wonderful. We call this spiritual mind treatment. Some people say it's affirmative prayer. What I say is I am speaking my word in the manner of Jesus the Christ, who did not ask but gave thanks, knowing it was so. I'll say it in the first person, and I invite each of you to take it personally for yourselves. You can close your eyes if you like, or not. Let's just take a breath in, center ourselves, and know this. This is the day the Lord has made. This is a day of wonder and mystery and beauty. Most certainly a glorious day. Because I am one with that which has made all that is, has been, and ever will be. And I take this into my heart, into my very being, and I celebrate it. And no matter what happens, I know that there is always something to bring that childlike wonder into my heart, into my consciousness, and to share that with others and inspire them. Because every day is the renewal of the sun, the renewal of the coming of new life and a new way of being. And I align myself in such a way, knowing the truth of my being, that I shine. I am magnified in glory because I am one with the most magnificent intelligence of the universe. It is said, of myself I am nothing. I am not nothing. I am that which the divine has created, as is every person in this universe. And where there is darkness, let me be a light. Let us each be a light, knowing that we come from a place this morning that is a light unto so many. There are things going on in this world that are less than glorious. And yet I know that the way to change this is to know the truth in my heart and to live from that truth in whatever inspired way, not egotistical way, but inspired way I am led. And I know I am in a perfect place this morning to be reminded of this and to let myself glow with the beauty of this holiday and carry it through every day of the year. I am so thankful for this center, for everyone upon whose shoulders we stand to come here today, and for the multitude and family of people who brought this together, for the beautiful music, our wonderful spiritual leader. I am just so overfilled and flowing with love and the glory of this season, that I can go through whatever comes to me and know a greater truth. From my heart, I thank my aunt and my family who gave me wondrous times, and I send blessings to all those who may not have had that, or had that in a different way than what I experienced. So with love in my heart, joy in my being, I simply say thank you. Namaste, aloha, blessed be, shalom, amen. And if you care to join me, and so it is.
With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. As I open and allow, I know right here and now, I create a world where wonders never cease. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. Through me. Life is a prayer.
I can find the whole meaning of life in those sad eyes. They've seen things you never quite say, but I hear. Come out of hiding, I'm right here beside you. And I'll stay there as long as you let me, because you matter to me. Simple and plain and not very much to ask from somebody. You matter to me. I promise you do. You matter too. I promise you do. You see. You matter. It's addictive the minute you let yourself think. The things that I say might just matter to someone. All of this time I've been keeping my mind on the running away, and for the first time I think I'll consider the stay, because you matter to me. Simple and plain and not much to ask of somebody. You matter
Thank you, Mally. Thank you, Cheryl.
Very nice. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Mally and Cheryl. Let's give them another hand. Absolutely beautiful. You matter to me. That is so central to who we are as a community here, right? Our You Belong theme. Just turn to somebody and say, you matter to me. Right? Turn to somebody else. Say, you matter to me. Right? All of us matter in this beautiful community. We come from so many different paths and places and ways of expressing. We matter to each other. That's the important thing. And so, gosh, such a beautiful segue into this topic today. Who we are as community. What does community mean? Who is included? Who's excluded? Who is our neighbor? As we celebrate community this month, when we see people in our community or outside of our community, do we make that distinction? What does it look like? So last week we launched this series on community and talked about this growing divide, which has been going on for some time in American social fabric and political identity. We talked about the erosion of something that's called social capital, which is how we care for each other across differences, right? How we gather together across things that would normally divide us, identities and ways of being and expressing, neighborhoods, sexual orientation, religious orientation, all of those ways in which the human mind has created to not only express our diversity, but then also to divide us from each other by the way we treat those differences. And so I'm going to extend a little bit more on that, because one of the things we talked about was that individual transformation is not enough. I kind of dropped a bomb on you last week. If you weren't here, go back and get it. Because I kind of dropped a bomb, right? I built up this whole thing, and I said, oh, by the way, one of the things that, that we remember, the 4 things that block community development, right? It was convenience, speed, technology, and the last one, individual transformation. That the research shows that individual transformation by itself is not adequate to actually building transformative community atmosphere. In other words, just focusing on your individual work ain't going to cut it, right? Which is a shocker in New Thought, because we have believed and we have shared in this myth that if just enough of us do our individual work, somehow magically it'll spill over to the collective. And I love believing that. It's just not true, right? This idea of collective consciousness, that if we just get, that 1,000 plus 1, and then suddenly everybody else just by osmosis gets it. Turns out the research really doesn't support that theory. It turns out we got to do the individual work. We have to wake up to our power, wake up to our capacities, but then we actually have to engage in community building in order to create community transformation. Because if the systems and structures are built to reinforce individual identity, if they're built to reinforce individual me getting my good and you getting your good and survival of the fittest and all the things that come with that, then community transformation will never happen, because those structures are built to support and sustain individuals, right? Succeeding at the individual level, and therefore competing with each other, and therefore always having the haves and the have-nots. And so it doesn't matter how much individual transformation happens, because then the gap between individuals who have and individuals who have not just continues to grow, unless we use our awakening to engage in social capital and building community together. Everybody with me so far? Okay, that was week 1. Now let's continue. Right? And so right now, many those who identify with the Christian faith around the world are in the midst of this sacred liturgy called Advent, which means adventure or journey. And for many years, I've taught the metaphysical aspects of that, the personal journey of Advent, the individual quest to awakening the Christ presence within us, and it's really beautiful. But this year, I want to take a new look at it. I've done so many sermon series on Advent of looking at, well, now let's embody the role of Mary. Let's embody the role of Joseph. Let's look at the Magi. Let's look at this, and all from kind of this individual quest aspect, all of which is really good stuff. But I'm not going to do any of that today. I'm going to talk about the collective journey of community in Advent. Because while Advent or the birth narrative is about Jesus coming into the world, we got to remember a couple of things. One, we got to remember that it's all written well after the fact, right? This is not stenographer notes. This is not a biopic. Right? It's all written well after the fact, after his death, looking back to create sacred context that will help individuals receive the message of his ministry and his life. And his primary message was, while we call it radical in many ways, and it wasn't necessarily radically different from the main themes of the day, meaning all of the sacred stories. The sacred stories that we learn, what many in the Christian faith would call the Old Testament, but just the sacred stories of the Torah and the law, all of those stories circulate around one particular thing: hospitality. They're all about hospitality. Abraham is said to be, blessed and highly favored because of his capacity to show hospitality to the stranger, to the neighbor, his ability to serve others around him. Right, all the stories of sin and humanity missing it, and the angry and vengeful God. All of those things. If you look past all of that stuff, that's kind of the flashy, to get your attention kind of elements of the story. What is God or the divine being? What is he, she, it? God's pronouns are always them, they. Right. What is that? What are the authors trying to express that there's anger or upset about? It's the lack of hospitality. The stories in Leviticus that sometimes fundamentalists like to use as a story to say that God doesn't like gay people. This story has nothing to do with sexual morality, because there's a lot of hetero and otherwise sexual immorality in that story. It's a terrible story, right? It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with hospitality. How are we treating each other and our neighbors? And so the main theme of the day, the world that Jesus walks into, the Middle Eastern, African experience, is all about hospitality. What are you building? How are you building community? Who's in, who's out, and how are you treating people who come? Right? And so this is important as we look at this theme of community this month. I mentioned last week the Harvard sociologist Robert Putnam, his seminal work, Bowling Alone, right, where he makes this argument that we're losing this sense of social capital, which is to build and care for each other across differences, right, which gives birth to what he calls kind of a new tribalism, or an uncritical loyalty to a particular group. Have you seen evidence of such things? It's a new tribalism, an uncritical loyalty to a particular group, right? A record number of Americans in a recent poll, 77%, said they believe that the country is divided. Ideological silos in recent years have become more and more common, both among liberals and conservatives alike, affecting how and with whom we interact. Not helped at all by the pandemic that we went through, where we had to isolate and retreat to our individual spaces. Meanwhile, social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, etc., tend to create echo chambers, only sharpening these partisan differences and these tribal ways of thinking. We only engage in conversation with those who think like us. I had somebody disagree with me about something recently, and I engaged in a rather long series of exchanges about it, and then they unfriended me and disappeared. And the whole conversation, right, disappeared. All the comments they just said, I'm out. Right? Because we don't like it. It's uncomfortable. So we'd rather just be friends with those who are going to think like us. And we see it in the election results, right? We had a man who was wholly unqualified to be a senator garner almost 1.7 million votes in Georgia. That was tribal thinking. That is that candidate for this party, and therefore I will, regardless of objective thinking about qualifications, skill set, platform, any of that stuff, right? The other thing that's important to note about that, right, that candidate only won two particular categories, white men and white women. Everything else he lost, right? Which is to say what? Unless we are building a multicultural platform and space called community, right, we don't have a winning ticket, right? Why? Because there's more of us here that are diverse and from different backgrounds, and it's important to create, regardless of political affiliation or what you think about taxes or roads or policies of any kind, right, that the approach must be communal. It must be collective. It must approach different cultures, identities, groups of people, and speak to those issues. And so the antidote is to create what we call brave space. Not just safe, so we retreat to safe space. That's home, that's your family, that's your spouse, that's a place where you can let your hair down. But community needs to be brave space. It needs to be courageous space where we're willing to disagree with each other, where we're willing to have people from different backgrounds in the same room, people who think differently on topics, people who experience life radically different. And if we look around, we have that in this space. And we got to cultivate that, and we got to encourage that. We got to make sure it doesn't get watered down or homogenized because we're afraid to offend somebody. I don't care if I offend you. let me just make that clear, right? I always like to say if something I say offends your political disposition, then take it up with your political disposition, not with me. In other words, examine. So why? What is that? What is in me that? And that's your spiritual journey, right? But we're here to be a collective and a community in which there are multiple things shared, multiple people from different backgrounds. We need in this country, in this community, in this space that we are living, a new spiritual awakening in which there is a direct and unmediated contact with the divine, free of divisiveness, free of body hatred, free of bias towards patriarchal systems of oppression and control, where that unmediated contact with the divine is anchored in the principle of oneness and cultivates a desire for the common good. We need an awakening that cultivates a radically inclusive consciousness that is at once grounded in the body and earth and embedded in an ecstatic consciousness of passionate senses of responsibility towards all living things. There's an African proverb which says, alone we can go faster, together we go further, right? That if we want to go fast, we can go it alone. But if we want to go further, we're going to have to work together. And that's going to slow us down because we're going to have to take time to say, well, what do you think? And how does that affect you? And what about this? And what about that? And I'm wrapping up collectively 8 years in the last 12 years of service to CSL on our national board. And thank you. I thought the one clap was better, but right. But we do this thing called shared leadership, and consensus building, and it slows things down. Oh, I wish I had the ability to just make decisions, right? And just say, no, this is what we're doing because I have it figured out and I know what's right. Don't you? Right? But when you're working with a committee, with a board, and you got several committees, and you got assigned committees that are reporting to the board, you got to gather all those data points, and it slows things down. But ultimately, in the long run, we tend to go further when we work together because we create more inclusive space. And so we're required, or we're asked rather, to keep in mind that the community is what has brought us this far. And community is where we're asked to go even further. The divine community, or as Dr. Martin Luther King spoke of, the beloved community, a world in which all people share the wealth of the earth and violations of human dignity are no longer tolerated. Going further versus going alone. And so this Christmas story, this Advent thing, is actually an invitation that at the heart of it says you go further together than you do alone. I know that so often we the Western society and Christianity in general makes it about Jesus. But I want to invite us to see it differently and see it through the lens of community. I want us to stop and take this in, that the whole Jesus Christmas thing is not a biopic of an extraordinary being that should be worshiped and fawned over, but rather it's an invitation into radical hospitality and restorative community. Why? For a couple of reasons. One, hospitality is already the main thrust of all Jewish, Middle Eastern, and African stories. It's the main thrust of all of the stories, the world that this story comes into. I said last week that at best, the story of Jesus, the narrative from birth all the way through Easter, at best is a composite of a whole bunch of sacred stories that were circulating in the earth. It's not a biopic of one individual. They borrowed and sometimes stole, right? Beg, borrowed, and steal from all kinds of different traditions in order to attach them to an individual that they thought was worthy of those borrowings, right? To wear that framing, if you will. So one, hospitality is already the main thrust of the world's greatest stories. The greatest emphasis in, number two, is the greatest emphasis in Jesus' ministry is one on hospitality, community, great commandment to love your neighbor as yourself. And three, the greatest need in the world was not more individual greatness, but transformative and restorative community, as it was in his day, as the rise of empire. As empire rises and tribalistic thinking rises, we know the signs of it. We see the greater gap between the rich and poor. We see the greater disparity between the haves and have-nots. We see more oppression and discrimination against people for their identities. This is the world he walks into. He sees it going on, and he sees it rising. He sees a lack of community. He sees the decrease of social capital. And so he comes to say, no, we need to break all of this down. We need to love each other. We need to put God first. We need to create community. And so at its heart, it's a story that's not of an individual man striving for the ideal. Because you see, when we see it that way, when we see it as a story of an individual man that is somehow embodying all of this perfection of God, free from sin, that maybe, just maybe, the download is, well, maybe I can be like him. Maybe I should try to be like him. Maybe I should work to, all of that stuff. And if I can't be like him, well, at least I can be on his team and belong to the right group so that when he comes, I get sucked up into the vacuum of divine sucking. What did he say? Yeah. But if we look at it through the lens, I just want to make sure you're still with me. But if we look at it through the lens of community, then what we have is an invitation in which there are many different roles and parts that have to be played in concert with each other in order to create the beloved, in order to create the sacred community. All the elements have to come together. The gifts, the hospitality, all of those things, and there's a great song that occurs around this season. I love the melody, but the lyrics and the message is terrible. Mary, did you know? You know the one? Mary, did you know? I hate this song because it's so patriarchal. But it has this patriarchal, pejorative assumptions in it. Mary did. Of course Mary knew. The only reason you know anything is because Mary said something about it. Right? None of us would know anything if Mary didn't say something. Mary was the first to know. Not only did Mary know, Mary had informed consent. Watch it. Mary said, let it be. And it was. Mary had informed consent. Of course she knew. I posted on Facebook the other day, there's a great set of alternative words to the song Mary did. Nobody's recorded it musically. They've just done there's an opportunity. There's a great opportunity. But there've been new words written that are about community and justice, and they're absolutely fabulous. But there's no audio of that, so invitation there. So Mary knew. Mary had informed consent. And what does this story say? It says this, that Mary is wrestling with this new awareness and deciding that life is for her, despite the fact that it wasn't in her plan, it wasn't in the life that she thought she was going to live, but nevertheless that this energy is essentially for her and not against her. That it is incumbent, therefore, upon us to see the world that is calling us to give birth to something new, something bigger than our current circumstances, something that will expand our horizon and awareness and our sense of community. Giving birth, if anybody has given birth or been a part of bringing children into the world, you know it is a community process. What's the first thing Mary does after she gets this news? She goes and sees Elizabeth, right? She shares the news. And what happens in Elizabeth's belly? Baby leaps in her as well. That's community. It's not an individual story. It's a community story. You share. People come together. At William's birthday, I think of all the people in Oregon who came around us and supported us for those years that we were there. And now the community that we're building here and the people that come around us. It takes a village. Amen, somebody? It takes a village, right? Birthing process is a community process. And so the angels say to Mary, or rather they do not say, they don't say that, Mary, you'll give birth to the child if you go on this journey and when you get to the end and when it's all checked and certified and worked out, right? Now the angels say the baby is in you now and you're on a journey of reconciliation and reconcile from exile for on behalf of all of your community, and that hospitality is the key. They go on this journey, and I'll talk more about this next week, but we make up this whole false narrative about them going to a motel or something, and there not being any room at the inn, right? It was a complete mistranslation. The correct translation in the Hebrew text, no room at the inn, means there's no room in the guest house. In the guest house. Why? Because a lot of people were traveling supposedly because of the census, and so the guest house would have already been full. Because if you're traveling with a 9-month pregnant woman, you're going to walk a little slower than everybody else. Amen, somebody? It's a long journey, so other people got there first. It wasn't that they didn't have anywhere to go. It wasn't that all the rooms were occupied. It wasn't some random hotel. Please don't let any of your children play that awful role in the school play of being the innkeeper that opens the door and says, no room, go to the back, and closes the door. Because it's not true. It was a family member that opened the door because they went to family. They were going somewhere specific. They had a family. They had community. And when they got there, they said, other families members have already gotten here. The guest house is full, but you can come in here. They went into the main house. Now you say, well, wait a second. I thought it was a stable in the back because the animals were there. If you know anything about Middle Eastern culture, I'm giving next week's sermon today. Okay. If you know anything about Middle Eastern culture, Palestinian, the way the houses were constructed, there would be a pit in the middle of the house. There would be an upper level in which they would sleep at night. There would be a guest house for guests when visitors would come. The guest house was full. They said, come in here, because the animals came in at night and slept in the pit in the lower level to give the house warmth. So he was born in a Palestinian home, just like any other Palestinian individual would have been born at home, with family, with the animals there. And then the word got out, and community came, and the gifts, and the travelers, and all of those things. That's not an individual isolation, no room, being kicked out story. That's a narrative that came around the 14th century because it was popular to lean on that poverty, isolationist lens. But at its heart and its origin, it's a community story. Come in. Right? My wife's from Zambia. I know this well. There's always more room in the house. Doesn't matter how many guest bedrooms you have. Doesn't matter how many beds. You still have a couch. You've still got a something. You've still got a floor. You come in. If more people show up, we go here, they go there. There's always more room. Right? Because it's about community. And so the invitation for us is to say, what are we being asked to play host to? And right, hospitality, what are we inviting into our consciousness? And I would invite us to carry this sense of community. What are we caring for? How are we inviting the stranger? How are we building restorative community? The essential aspect of restorative community is a context in which each individual, each citizen chooses to be accountable rather than entitled. Restorative community is built upon the aspect in which each citizen chooses to be accountable rather than entitled. I'm accountable to this thing that we're creating. The book Community, The Building Blocks of Belonging by Peter Block, but quoting last week, he says, accountability is the willingness to care for the whole. It flows out of a kind of conversation that we have about the new story from which we want to take our identity, in which we want to build. It means that we have a conversation about what we can do to create the future. Accountability is the willingness to care for the whole. It flows from the kind of conversations. I just read all of that. I put it in there twice. All right? So this accountability to the whole. What do we want to create together? What's possible? We have some guiding thoughts in our tradition from the Declaration of Principles from Centers for Spiritual Living, the denomination that we belong to. It says that the manifest universe is the body of God. It's the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. The manifest universe, that means everything is in our community. Everything is a part of our community because it's the logical and necessary outcome of this infinite intelligence knowing itself. We have another beautiful document called the Global Heart Vision, or the Global Vision. And it says this in parts. There's 2 sections of it I want to share with you. It says, we envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. A world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. A world in which we grow as one global family. Further down, it says, we envision a world in which each and every person has enough food, a home, and a sense of belonging. A world of peace and harmony, enfranchisement and justice. Right? A place where we all belong, a place where we matter. What is possible when we begin to be accountable to that vision? So yes, Mary knows what's inside of her is about healing the world. Mary knows that she's carrying something that is an act of community that she will give birth to and that all will come together to be accountable for. Accountability, again, is the willingness to care for the whole. The communal possibility rotates on this question, Peter Block says. He says it rotates on this question: what can we create together? What can we create together? It emerges from the social space that we create when we are together, and it's shaped by the nature of our culture within which we operate, but is not controlled by it. The question of what can we create together is at the intersection of possibility and accountability. Possibility without accountability results in wishful thinking, he says. Accountability without possibility creates more of what we have now and ultimately leads to despair. But at the intersection of possibility and accountability, something magical is possible. What will we create together? I want to know as we move into 2023, what will we create together as Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta that has this belonging centered in our message of creating community? What's possible? You know, we've done things like working with Toco Hills and other projects, and we've done things like the Water for Jackson, and because we're a small group of people compared to, we were at Water in Jackson, Mississippi, we saw truckloads, some coming from Atlanta, from other churches, truckloads, semis full of water. We gave a fraction of the water that was needed, but what we did was we built community. We built community relationships that we maintained such that when the Poor People's Campaign came here, they said, oh, there's Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. We know that they care. And they connected us with other people, and people from some serious radio host from New York who's a justice advocate. He's with the leader of Black Voters Matter. He came and sought me out. He said, I've been told I need to know who you are, right? What's possible when we work together? What can we create together? I think that we can create something phenomenal together. It's not about being the biggest church. It's not about any of those things. It's about the vibration and the essence of what we're creating, that we come into this space, we get our own healing, we get our own spiritual tools for transformation, and we go out, each of us in our own ways, and then supporting each other in each other's ways. I may not be able to go there with you, but I'll support it. I may not be able to do that particular project, but I'll support it. Because together we're creating something extraordinary. That's what this whole birth narrative is about. It's about how the community comes together to give birth to something that is bigger than itself. So the question I have is, do we want to give birth to something bigger than ourselves? Do we want to participate in the creating of the beloved community? I believe that it's time that we awaken from our sleep and come to a direct and intimate relationship to a power that is greater than we are, and to a law of good that is creatively acting upon our prayers, our affirmation, the meditations of our faith, and the hymns of our praise. And it all begins with knowing that I affirm the God that is within me. I affirm the God that is within you. And everywhere I see all of life as an invitation to sacred community. Take a breath. I affirm the God within me. I affirm the God within you. I see all life as an invitation to sacred community. And say it together with one voice. I affirm the God within me. I affirm the God within you. I see all life as an invitation to sacred community. And so it is. Thank you for being part of this sacred community today.
Thank you, Reverend David. It's beautiful.
Search the sky for that star, star of light, star of love, bright enough to guide
Wow. Is this not a joyful, wonderful place to be today? Is this not a joyful, wonderful place to be all the time? Really. Thank you, Reverend Dr. David, from my heart for what the world needs to hear and for the wonderful music and all the people that make this possible. From my heart, I'm just vibrating, and I hope that you have a wonderful reaction and response to today's service. It's time to acknowledge our first-time visitors. So if this is your first time at SLCA, we invite you to stand so we can welcome you. Anyone here today? Well, welcome. Our ushers are handing you a gift just for you. Please join a welcome ambassador for fellowship out in the lobby following service. And thank you for choosing the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta as part of your celebration today. As we enter our time of grateful giving, we want to thank each of you that faithfully give to SLCA. It is because of these contributions, your contributions, that we can continue to spread our message of oneness. So if you were inspired by this message today, please consider becoming a regular, recurring pledger or give what is on your heart today. You can conveniently text your gift to 404-800-9467.
Yep.
You may also give with a credit card on our website or by using our digital program with a QR code displayed on the screen. If you wish to give by cash or check, our ushers will be coming through in just a moment to receive your contributions. I know that we have not had quite enough money every month, and as Dr. David said to us recently, we could use a little extra something. I personally have a check that I'm going to be giving as an extra tithe this month in gratitude for all that I receive from here, and I invite you to consider doing the same. So as you hold your pledge card or your check or gift to your heart, please join me in saying our grateful giving affirmation. I live in a universe of abundance as I freely and joyfully give. I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly, and so it is.
Serve and give, living life where you belong. Connect, grow, serve and give, loving everyone. You belong, you belong, you belong.
Thank you, Penelope. Hello, all you beautiful, brave builders. Builders has a U and an I in it. Yeah.
A linguist, I love it.
Hello, I'm Mally Lapete. My pronouns are she and her, and I gladly serve on the SLCA Creative Arts team. Let's get you some announcements. We have so many great opportunities to connect, grow, serve, and give at our center. So for more information about today's announcements, as well as other opportunities, take a moment to scan the QR code found either on the back of the seat in front of you or the one displayed on your monitor. You may also visit our information wall in the lobby. We'd like to thank each and every one of you that faithfully gives to our center. Thank you. SLCA is excited to present Reverend Dr. Raymond Anderson this Wednesday, December 14th, as he discusses science of mind principles and their relevance to our lives today. The science of mind and spirit is a philosophy, a faith, a way of life. This is an opportunity to take a fresh look at these life-affirming principles that can bring about positive changes in the health, mental, and spiritual well-being. So register for this Zoom meeting today. Maddie's table in the back needs your help on December 18th, next Sunday, as we celebrate this holiday season with fellowship and music. Bring your favorite dish to share with fellowship. Bring your favorite dish to share for this multicultural potluck that will take place immediately following an incredibly special service, promise. Let us know after service. There's a clipboard in the back. You can sign your name and what you're going to bring, which makes me very excited. How can you serve at SLCA? We're currently looking for Sunday greeters to welcome our community, those wishing to assist with weekly cleaning of the center and Maddie's hospitality table. So if any of these are of interest to you or you're looking for other ways to serve, please contact us after the service or during the week. Although we will not have an in-person service I messed this up last week too. Okay, although we will not have an in-person service on December 25th, please join our online service beginning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. For those wishing to join adult study at 9 a.m. that morning, there will be a Zoom gathering. Join us also for New Year's Eve meditation and breakfast beginning at 7 a.m. Eastern. That's Saturday morning. Please sign up on Breeze today so we can prepare accordingly. Will all practitioners please make yourself known both in person and in the online chat at this time to be recognized. Thank you. We welcome each of you in need of prayer to remain in the room or reach out to a practitioner online for one-on-one prayer with a licensed practitioner. In-person practitioners will be sitting on either side of the sanctuary after the service. Thank you for coming today. You belong.
Thank you, Mally. Okay. Will you join me and let's sing together and close out our service. Come on, get up on your feet. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. Yes, we do. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people, all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. We envision a world that works for everyone and for all of creation. We see all people and all beings as expressions of God. We see a world that works for everyone. See it with me. We see a world that works for everyone. We see a world that works for everyone. 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 Yes, indeed. Have a great holiday season, everyone. Enjoy the hospitality. Yes, yes, yes.